two occasions in Hamlet where Hamlet observes something taking place before him, and it moves him, number one, to feel shame at his own inaction up to that point in the play, and number two, to resolve to take action. The first of these is in Act 2, when Hamlet sees a rehearsal for a play that's going to be performed, in which the story of Priam and Hecuba is played out before him. And he sees an actor on stage just really go for it. Just take it to the max as far as emoting, and really be very convincing. You know, I think that Hamlet is in awe of how convincing he is in his emotion. It's not that he thinks he overdoes it. He thinks, I said a moment ago, that he goes to the max, and maybe that's making it sound like the actor is overacting. I don't think he is, in Hamlet's estimation. I think he's this. You know, this isn't like the performance at the play within the play at the end of Midsummer Night's Dream, where the actors are all obviously incompetent. That's part of the humor. Here the actors are quite competent. They know what they're doing, and they enact this scene, and this actor feels moved to emote over the loss of his loved one. And Hamlet says afterwards, well, look at what just happened here. All of those tears, all of that emotion, and for what? For Hecuba, he says. What's Hecuba to him or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? And Hamlet says, I've got so many more real reasons to shed much more than just tears, to shed my own blood, if necessary. Yet I'm doing nothing at this point. So this is when he feels like he's just been dilly-dallying, or gives him that conviction that that's all he's been doing up to this point in the play. And this is when Hamlet resolves to, I believe it's the moment when Hamlet finally resolves to use the play within the play format to catch the king, to see if the king is really guilty of what the ghost accused him of being guilty of, which is murdering his father. So that's the first moment in the play when Hamlet is moved to take action by something that he observes. The second time is a little bit more subtle. This is when Hamlet has been exiled, and he's going out, being led by the treacherous Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who he will soon outsmart and find his way back into Denmark. But this is before that takes place. And he comes across this army of men who are about to fight, he's told by the general who represents them. I think it's the general. It's some authority figure over this army, that's this mass of men who are marching before him. He says that they're about to essentially fight for their lives, give their lives over this piece of land that's ultimately not that valuable to anyone. But the stage has been set, and the battle is going to be fought, and these men are going to die in all likelihood in this battle that will be for essentially nothing, just part of the useless carnage that takes place in war so often. Once again, Hamlet is moved, but not in the way that we might think he is. He's not moved to remark, oh, what a tragedy this is, but how ridiculous it is that these men are giving their lives for something that isn't even that valuable to anybody. Although I think that thought does register with him, but that's not the thought that he stays with. Where he goes with that thought is he says to himself, well, these guys are willing to put their lives on the line in this kind of situation over something that's completely useless, something that's not really even a cause at all. And he says to himself, but I have a cause. I have a cause that is of great import. And I haven't done my part. I haven't been true to my word. I pledged to the ghost that I would make haste to avenge him, to avenge my father for the treachery committed by my uncle. And I still haven't done that. And he says, this is when the memorable lines about what is a man if his chief aim in life be but to sleep and feed. A beast, no more, Hamlet says. And that's essentially what Hamlet feels like he's been up to this point. He feels this great sense of unworthiness and this great sense of derision for himself, which is something that it should be pointed out, holds true from beginning to end in the play. At the very beginning, Hamlet talks about how that his uncle is no more like his father than he is to Hercules. So he makes this negative comparison, and of course later on he says, "What a rogue and peasant slave am I." Lots of lines like that. Here, Hamlet convicts himself of being, when he says a beast, he doesn't mean what we would think of as beastly, like evil or vicious. He means lazy. He means, so unworthy of the task that he's been called to do that he can't even properly call himself a man. And so he resolves at that point with these famous lines. Well, actually, they're not so famous. They should be famous, but there can only be so many famous lines in this play, spoken by Hamlet. Hamlet is the great speaker of lines. He says, "Oh, from this day forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth." So, once again, it's the spectacle of seeing something played out before him that has this effect on Hamlet, that kicks him right where it hurts, and makes him feel extremely convicted of his own unworthiness up to this point. And it's at this point one gathers that Hamlet decides he's going to do it. He's going to take out the treacherous king. Of course, it's still a little while longer before he actually does it, because he's being exiled at this point. And earlier in Act 3, when he had a chance to take out Claudius, he chose not to through some extremely convoluted thinking that is so very Hamlet-esque that, wait a minute, he's praying. If I kill him now while he's praying, then I'll send him to heaven. I don't want him to go to heaven, so I'll wait for another time when he's not praying. And so he holds off on, or holds back from doing the thing that he believes he ought to do. But now it's like, wild dogs absolutely will not keep him from his task. My thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. And there is something motivating about those lines, I find. Because there are times in life, there are times when a man living at a certain time with all kinds of grave corruptions and all kinds of terrible evils afoot, where his thoughts must be bloody or be nothing worth. Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com.